Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'd like to thank the Iranian American community for the opportunity to be with you today, and it's an honor to be in the presence of such distinguished statesmen, public servants. How many representatives do we have from Texas today? Okay, I heard you're catching up to California. I'd like to see that because we're very proud of our Texas roots here in Washington. So, yesterday I had the opportunity to look through a book of some 20,000 victims, people that had been killed by the regime in Iran going back to the 1980s. And it struck me that the conversation we're having now is not just a matter of weeks, days, months, but this is really the epic struggle of our time. This has been going on a long time, and what happens with the MEK and how this issue is resolved and what happens to the future of Iran is really the threshold issue of the 21st century. I opened the page and I saw a young woman who had been training for the Olympics, and she was training to be a member of the Iranian Olympic team, and with her were many others, athletes, artists, scientists, that really showed and displayed the incredible talents of the Iranian people and the culture. And it struck me that she had the same look in her eyes that the woman in the video, Saba, I believe, had, and the same steely determination that the woman who was killed on the streets of Tehran during the elections had, which is the determination to stand up to what I think is really one of the last very evil and oppressive regimes in the world, and one that your struggle will have an important impact on. I think it's fair to say that much of what has been described are the facts of this matter, and the facts obviously support your case and the view that not only were you I would say, an innocent actor in what was a larger epic struggle in the beginning of the Iraq War, but that this potential to be overlooked and to not have, I think, what the right decision made will continue to be an issue. There are a number of stories. There are stories of members of Camp Ashraf helping build homes for the U.S. military, actually selling software, engaging, and what you see is the development of a vibrant community. I think we all have to be very vigilant, and this is a real test for the United Nations, as to what UNHCR does at Camp Liberty, and I fully agree with my colleagues here that there must be a much more accelerated process, and there should be an evaluation of what could be done at the Security Council to push and accelerate the process of repatriating our colleagues, our family members, and our friends that are in Camp Liberty. And I agree further with Professor Dershowitz that we should be the first country to stand up and accept those refugees and come out publicly and do so today. I think it's interesting also, as Ambassador Bolton said, that we are here in the context of a larger struggle with a regime which has done terrible things to its people. And I think it's sort of ironic today that the government in Iran has said that there are only two cities that it would meet for consultations with the P5+1 on the nuclear issue, Damascus and Baghdad. It's somewhat ironic, I think. And even our Turkish friends who have tried very hard to function as an intermediary are growing weary with what is another foot-dragging effort to stall for time. So I think that why this issue is particularly important right now is because of the power of social media and the power of public opinion in Iran. As you all know full well, I was always struck by the degree to which the Iranian people diverged from the regime in terms of their view of what Iranian society, culture, and the political life could be. And I think that this issue is being watched very closely in Iran. It is being followed. And I think if you are looking at how we can effectuate change in Iran, it is not only you all here, but the entire diaspora community in the United States that can play a very important role in communicating back that there are strong efforts being made to correct this issue, that the pressure is on. The full weight of the United States legal system, our constitutional scholars, great attorneys, great statesmen are on this case, and I'm very hopeful that in the coming days and weeks that these efforts will come to fruition. I'd like to just conclude by saying that there is a new initiative at the State Department actually to focus on diaspora communities. And there's this recognition that diaspora communities can play an important function in terms of reaching out in what is termed public diplomacy, engaging, communicating. And I think that this community in the United States, not only an accomplished community of great leaders, but one with increasing power, increasing political voice, needs to use that voice. And it needs to use that voice not only so it's heard here in Washington, but so it keeps the hope alive of those people, your countrymen, your friends, your family, that are in Iran, and especially those that are in between Camp Ashraf and Camp Liberty. So I join my fellow colleagues here in wishing you the very best, and that we call upon the State Department, we call upon our government to do the right thing. And I think, as Governor Rendell said, Secretary Clinton, I believe her heart is in the right place. And the question is, will that building be able to produce the kind of decision that needs to happen quick enough, soon enough, so that there'll be no more suffering and no more what I would say would be a humanitarian tragedy if this is allowed to continue. I had 3 little brothers who served in Iraq in our military, one in the Army, one in the Marines, and one in the Navy. And I think this commitment that was made by our government to the security and the protection of the people at Camp Ashraf, it would be a disservice to them and to all of the other veterans who served to turn a blind eye to this. So I thank you for the opportunity, and again, I've enjoyed getting to know some of you, and I hope to speak to you further about this important cause. Thank you.